We are live.
Live.
Welcome back to Sibs Wars.
Right.
Wieners, fluffy wieners, fluffy wieners, 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 fluffy wieners, fluffy wieners, fluffy wieners.
That was
As you
beautiful.
couldn't guess, we are going to talk about Game of Thrones on this week's Sibs
Wait,
Wars.
we're not talking about floppy wieners?
No,
No.
we're not talking about floppy wieners.
Read the books if you want floppy wieners.
Hodor.
I've watched all the
Willis, what you talking about, Willis?
Oh, we gotta talk about Mr. Hodor tonight.
Everything.
Sure.
I know, we have so much to talk about. It's
cover.
crazy.
So where should we
Now,
start?
do we have, I was going to say, now where do we have a very good place to start. But I do want to ask, are we having any parameters of spoilerish type things? Because there is stuff out there that I think I haphazardly know some of the books because of this YouTube channel, Emergency Awesome, that I watch that talks about stuff from the books and things like that, but I don't know like a whole bunch. I'm vague.
Well,
but I know like the storyline, like Alex knows, like Alex, you know the storylines coming up and
I know
the Tower of Joy and all that stuff. That's all book stuff, right?
I would say, I mean, I think that regardless of who is listening to this or watching this or whatever, we're fans of we're just fans of the show. I would say no holds barred, which is a terrible movie, on the kind of spoilers that you throw out there, because sure, I'm not saying we need to go totally off the deep end with theories and this avenue and that avenue versus
we could get lost in that completely.
Exactly.
But I think at this point,
well, we know that there is the main theory.
Well, yeah.
R plus L equals.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, but I think we're going to get that reveal next week.
That's it.
I think
we have to start somewhere.
Let's save that for the end. Let's start from the top.
Right. So
if we're going to start from the beginning, we should pick up where they picked up, which is Jon Snow laying in said snow, right?
Yeah, in a pool of blood.
So and what's like the most heartbreaking scene, like it was killing me with Ghost just crying, and I was just like, make it stop, oh my God, this poor baby, like make it stop. It was so heart-wrenching.
Is somebody gonna try and kill Ghost? Like that's what I was afraid. Like someone's gonna kill Ghost. But the opening shot, and Sir Davos coming out of the Castle Black and finding him down there, and the whole sequence of him and Ed and the guys that were loyal to Jon in that room was just a great opening sequence.
Yeah, it really was. It was. And now I talked briefly with Alex about this, and I was reading stuff online and in the comments and stuff about what Davos was looking at for so long when his head was turned, and people were asking like what was the shape of Jon Snow's blood, and I thought they had posted that it was a direwolf, but then I was wrong, Alex. It wasn't a direwolf, it was a dragon. That when Davos was looking and his head was turned, and supposedly like they drew the outline of it and stuff like that, but what was Davos looking at in that moment?
I had the same reaction that Alex is having right now to that one. I looked at those images, and it kind of felt like it was like a Rorschach, and like, well, I could see a butterfly there. I could see wings there. That's not in the books.
I don't know what.
Well, no, why would it be? Again, you're going to have to, and that's another thing, like, people are saying brace for things being different from the books. As a book reader, you're going to get like characters melded in together.
Well, I think he was just looking at the blood. I think that he was just looking at, the fact that all this life, this hope, this man is gone.
Right.
And what can he do about it? And he's just looking at this blood like, oh shit. I think that people.
That's what I initially thought, more along those lines.
That they want to find. That if the blood splatter looks like a dragon, then so be it. But I don't buy it as a purposeful.
But then again, also we have to realize that Davos is not in the dark about what the importance of that he knows that there's some kind of importance to Jon Snow.
But he only knows that because of what Melisandre.
Because what Melisandre has said that she saw him.
That's what I'm saying. So it's weird because there's got to be, to me, it's like he's so invested in Jon Snow coming back, and he is trying so hard for that. He knows something is up. He believes in something going on with Melisandre. Obviously, we see him say exactly that. In episode 2 eventually. But he is really, seems invested in what Jon Snow could potentially mean, and why is he so much more important than bringing anybody else back?
He believes in him, for sure.
But he doesn't believe in the god.
I think that I think he believes in Snow in a way he once felt about Stannis. Because obviously Stannis is dead, so we know or think.
Right. No, that's definite. We know that he's dead.
Okay.
No, because Ramsay Bolton, Roose Bolton says to Ramsay, he says, "Do you know who killed Stannis? Because I'd throw the man a party or a parade or so." He says something along those lines. So Stannis,
But then he says no. Ramsay Bolton
because he doesn't. Ramsay doesn't know that Brienne of Tarth is the one that killed Stannis Baratheon.
Right. But they know he's dead, Alex.
Yes, they know he's dead.
Fair enough.
He's dead, and it's 100% he's dead because the actor, he was bad.
He done,
and he didn't like his experience.
It's all
that's the article that I sent you guys. Yeah, I sent you guys that article via text a while ago.
So I think that, like I was saying, I think that he views Snow in a similar vein that he did Stannis once. That this is the guy to put everything behind, in a similar way that Sir Jorah Mormont and I guess now Tyrion Lannister and Varys feel about Daenerys. That this is their.
I don't know that Tyrion thinks yet that Daenerys is the one to take over the world. I think
you're not sold on that. You think he's just
not yet. He's playing his. I drink and I know things. I don't. He's trying to run a city right now, and I don't think that he's in a position yet to say.
He's happy to not be dead. Also,
right.
He was in a very precarious situation, so it's like, all right, I'll stay here.
His whole life, he's an imp. He's been threatened with death and being written out of the family and being sold off to the family for his entire life. So I think he's kind of hardened because of
that. I could watch an episode completely of Tyrion and Varys.
Yeah, really funny.
He's like, but at least I have a cock, It's like,
He's like, I don't. You make dwarf jokes. I don't make dwarf jokes. You think them.
Yes.
Somebody needs to make
anything.
Someone needs to make a supercut buddy cop trailer of the Varys and Tyrion.
I wouldn't doubt if I'm gonna look.
What would we call that? The eunuch and the half man? Is that too literal? We need something with a little pizzazz to market this as.
Solo and Big Shot.
Solo and Big Shot.
No.
Have we come full circle?
That's our Finn and Han Solo buddy cop movie.
No, it's there was this old detective show in the 80s called Jake and the Fat Man.
Oh, Jake and the Fat Man. I remember that.
It's Imp and the Eunuch.
See, you got to get Short Man in there. You got to figure out a name for Varys and call it Blank and the Short Man. I don't know. That's good, though. Somebody needs to make that trailer. Buddy cop movie. Buddy cop TV show.
Dickless and the Short Man?
So.
Oh, there's. I just Googled it. But there is 2.5 Man, the Game of Thrones buddy cop film, but it's a buddy cop trailer for Bronn and Tyrion.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. 2.5, man.
Like 2.5, man.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of Brienne of Tarth, she is.
Then we quickly move to the next scene of
next
Theon
scene
and Theon.
Yeah, Justin. You know what? You should, Justin, if you can, while we're talking, since you're so faboosh at this and have the capability, you should see if you can pull up like a scene.
Which scene?
You know. No, like a quick. So like if we don't like maybe some. Like maybe something that says, no, not a screenshot, just something that you can read that says, like a synopsis of episode 1 so that we don't miss.
Oh, sure. Got it.
So, you know what I mean?
So yeah. I've already got it, and I'm already on top of that.
Okay, sweet.
I have episode 1 and then episode 2 lined up after that, so.
Oh, okay, awesome. So yeah, keep track of
where we are.
Where we're headed. Guide.
Yes. Would you like my segue? Speaking of Brienne of Tarth. We get to the forests of Winterfell, I guess, wherever the hell they are.
Yeah, they're outside of Winterfell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Running for their lives.
Running for their lives from the hounds, and then a very poor hiding job. I couldn't help myself at the time. I was watching it. I was like, as soon as the dogs got to her, I was like, you knew you were gonna get found hiding in a shitty place like that. Come on now, Sansa and Theon.
Well,
but they had to try. I mean, what else were they going to do, though? What else were they going to do? And if he's, it's like you got to either die trying or just. If they didn't keep going and get to that point, Brienne of Tarth wouldn't have found them if they just,
And what's
gave
her
up and didn't cross.
They need to do a buddy cop movie for 2 of them. What's her sidekick's name?
Podrick.
Yeah,
Podrick
Payne.
Podrick Payne. He's one of King Robert's bastards, right? We have to go so far back. He was in King's Landing with Arya, and then they got separated.
Who?
Right, that's
with Podrick. He started out in King's Landing. He was with Tyrion for a while.
He was Tyrion's squire as a joke.
Yeah.
Because Tywin was like, fine, you want a squire, you get Podrick.
I thought for some reason he was the black-haired kid in the blacksmith shop that Ned finds in season 1 as proof that's
Gendry, and we have no idea where the hell Gendry. The last we saw Gendry was Sir Davos was putting Gendry in a boat in season 3 or 4, and just
all right, never mind. I got my dark-haired Game of Thrones characters mixed up. So
I'm correcting you. That's all.
So we should touch on the whole, because their scene in episode 2, other than obviously Theon leaving, was kind of brief in the grand scheme of things. Do we think taking her to Castle Black is a good idea at this point? I mean, they don't know what's just happened.
They don't know what's going on up there, but yeah, it's the only place for her to go.
Right.
It literally is the only place for her to go.
And timing-wise, it couldn't be a better time with Jon Snow.
And true, she couldn't go south, because if she did, she'd have to go through the north to go south, and everyone in the north is looking for her right now. Sansa, that is.
Well, you don't know that. That you don't know. I mean, because beyond Winterfell, the only thing that the North is at this point is disjointed, group of people slightly behind the Boltons.
Right, especially after the events of episode 2 as well. So.
Oh my God! Yeah.
We'll get to that in a moment.
But the fact that she's finally hooked up with Brienne is great. To keep that moving forward. But she's got no place else to go. I got no place else to go. Mayonnaise.
Nowhere to go, man.
And so Theon's not going to go home to Pike to the Iron Islands.
And he's picking a hell of a time to go back too. That's.
We'll get to episode 2 and
King's Moot.
King's Moot. So the next place we go from here is Dorne. The wonderful
down to Dorne.
Down to Dorne.
I did not
this was all just
I'm with you.
It was all just throwaway.
It's all they screwed that whole pooch from the book. Like, that didn't happen.
Okay, so explain, please, elucidate.
Hold on one second. Let me just ask this before you go, Justin. Is it true?
Yeah.
Is it true that?
Is it true?
Really, towards the end of the books and stuff like that, that the people from Dorne in the long scheme of things really don't play like a huge role. But they are like cool characters and good storylines. But they, in the end of they're just not like playing a huge role in the grand scheme of things. So that's why I
to the best of my
heard
knowledge,
that they don't take that big of a role, so they can't do it in the TV series. It's like backup stuff.
I'm gonna be honest at this point, and I don't. It's been so long at this point since I've read the books that, I mean, that whole sequence, the way that all went down, doesn't ring in my brain. I don't recall if that happened
at all.
But them killing his, like, the prince's bodyguard, like, that bodyguard in the book, he's badass, and they never got into that character.
He was supposed to be He was supposed to be badass in the television show. There were elements of that last season when he was fighting James.
Barely.
But I could definitely tell that guard, and now, honestly, this is something that makes me want to go deeper into the books to get to that, because I expected that from the television show, and it never happened. It didn't happen, and then he got
killed. Stabbed
taken out like a bitch.
Yeah.
Well, the show that I watched that I was telling you guys about, Emergency Awesome, and he goes between talking about the books and the episodes. He specifically said, like, because someone, like, he takes questions and stuff like that, and someone asked him specifically about the killing of Triste, and that's the guard's name that they killed. And
that's not the guard's name.
I mean, that's the son's name.
Right.
And the other guy, like, they said in the book, he has a whole other storyline in the sense that, like, he really is a lot stronger and more, like, diverse, and he makes people think, like, it's gout that keeps him that way, and he makes people think that he's weaker than he really is in the book. And he's, like, got a deeper storyline and stuff, and that bodyguard is completely badass. And he said, like, he thinks that the show was making a point to, like, have, like it was almost symbolic in a way to kill him off in such, like, a doink easy, like, way, that to say that, because in the long run, although, it's a good story and stuff like that, and there's a lot of badass characters and stuff, that in the long run, they don't, in the grand scheme of things, they really aren't big players.
No, so they don't seem to be, very heavily involved in the grand scheme of the fight for the Game of the Throne, for the Throne of Swords.
So was it just a vehicle to kill
Myrcella?
Yeah, is that what it all was? Is that how she dies? Well, she dies from Dorne?
In the books, you mean?
I think so.
Justin, I don't know.
Again, that storyline, while I like the prince and I like the bodyguard and the Sand Snakes, the daughters are prominent, and they're cool in the way they're written and described. I'm too far away from those books to remember at this point what happened. There are pieces that they've taken. They've moved so many things around. Like I'll jump ahead to episode 2 for a minute, but the things that are going to happen post, the Greyjoy death and Euron Greyjoy coming back and everything. That happens in, like, book 3 or 4 or 3 or 2 or 3. Like,
right.
So that's been, like, it's been lying dormant for so long.
They're now just going back and touching on it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, but they screwed around with the whole Greyjoy thing from the beginning. Like, Yara, Asha, what's her name? Asha, the sister?
Yeah, Asha or something. I thought it was Yara.
No, it's Yara. In the book, it's Asha. It's a complete like they I don't know why they changed her name. In the book, she's Asha, and in the show, she's Yara. She's really badass, and she's been that way in the show, but she hasn't had as much a prominent role as in the show as she did in the book.
Since they came back, yeah.
But that whole thing where she goes to try to save him, and they did an episode on that. That's like chapter after chapter of her gathering people, going to that other fort and trying to get more people. That's what she was talking to her father about. Like, we'll never be able to hold lands on the mainland, as long as we're, bickering about other stupid stuff out here on Pike. Right. That's why she's pissed at him. But Theon going home again, I don't remember, because I don't think that the whole Sansa, Brienne, Theon escape thing is in the book either.
Okay.
You should. Are you interested? You should like look it up for yourself. Just because you can obviously just look it up online now and find it anywhere.
Or go back and read the books again. But
oh God, but that would take you another couple of years to refresh yourself to go back. You want to go forward, not back. Right. You got to
I will say I think that. Well, I guess the question is now, knowing that, hearing that from you, does the Dorne storyline get more of a spotlight moving forward, or less?
I don't think so. I think it's less. I mean, I think you still might have her, the wife.
Yeah.
And obviously the Sand Snakes are out there, but to what end, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
I think there's so much more. Yeah.
There's so much more happening between the North and what's happening at King's Landing right now.
Yeah.
And what's happening in Meereen that it's a throwaway. You could have gotten away with not having them involved at all.
Right.
But I think to Amy's point, it's a vehicle to get rid of another of the Lannister children.
To get rid of characters.
No, well, I mean, as per the prophecy from the Frog Lady, the gypsy, it said that that Cersei will have 3 children and that they will all die, and she will have no joy in her life. She will have no reign. The gypsy told her that her kids would die, another princess would come along more beautiful than her and be the queen. Now, obviously, she thinks that that's Marjorie Tyrell.
Yes.
But I think it's Daenerys.
Okay. Very, very
That's my feeling on that.
Could be.
Yeah, I don't.
Good.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. It's fine.
No, I was going to say that and that leads us to the next scene, which is Jaime coming back
with her in King's Landing. Yeah, we can move on.
Right, what I was gonna quickly just say is that the Sand Snakes could be used as someone's allies or weapons in the future, or there can always be a revenge story somewhere in it. I'm sure Cersei's is not going to let them get away with it.
Yeah, because one of the things that I was thinking as I was watching this is, what would be a great dynamic to pit against each other would be Cersei and Elayna. Because to me, the wife, sister, woman, the one who kills, the mother, whatever her name is,
the Sand Viper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mother, the daughter's mother.
Right. Yeah. Ilaria.
Black Mamba.
She is, clearly she's ruthless.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Cunning, violent, and to me, Cersei is those things, but she's doing it from a very Westerosi kind of perspective, where she's using others like pawns or ploys. And I think that would be a real interesting dynamic to have those two pitted in one another in a vendetta, which is what this is turning into. It's just,
I don't know. I think it's a dead storyline. I think there's two.
Like I said, it's open, so they're out there.
They're out there, so but my feeling is that there are lots of people who are out there, It's like they jettison Gendry off into the boat. We haven't heard from the brothers without, flags or whatever the hell their names is. The Thoros of Mir, the other Red Priest. Like that, you haven't seen that guy since season 3. So there's plenty of characters that have come in and just disappeared.
Speaking of that, they did cast like 2 new. They cast 2 Red Priestesses for this season.
Yeah, and you saw one of them already. You saw a Red Priest the other day on episode 2, right? Or episode 1, when Varys and Tyrion are running. They're going through the city, and they see that, and there's that guy preaching. That's a Red Priest.
Oh, okay.
He's talking to all those people in Marine.
About the Lord of Light?
About the Lord of Light. That's a Red Priest. But Amy's right. There are 2 women who got cast as other priestesses.
Like high priestesses or some shit like that, yeah.
More of that red magic that I've heard about in there.
So then we come to the boat coming into the harbor at King's Landing.
What a great shot.
Great shot.
Oh, beautiful, yeah.
With Cersei in the harbor. I mean,
for a split second, you feel bad for her.
Oh,
there's a look in her eye when she realizes that Jaime is standing in front of a coffin or sarcophagus, and you feel this moment of like, she's gone through some tough shit, and then you're like, yeah, but she's a royal bitch, and she deserves everything that's coming to her right now because of what she's done to everybody else in this world. And that was it. I had this moment, and it was gone.
I don't know. I was more conflicted. I was much more conflicted. I did say to Alex, what an extraordinary acting job, though, of Lena in that scene, because it really was just, a close-up of her face and the gamut of emotions from, like, happy and hopeful to, like, confused and quiet to just, like, gutted and devastated and gone. And just she just did such a great job of that, and it definitely left me. But then, like, when she called for Tommen, I guess we'll wait for that. So, but at that moment, in that episode, I was just like, I'd be ready for her to go. Like, I want them to fuck up the like, what are the people called?
The Sparrows.
That did
the Faith Militant, which brings us.
I want her. Like, that's no matter what I think of what Cersei's did, I want her and Jaime to, like, take holy hell revenge. I'm ready to see, like, them get theirs, because they're just, I hate them so much.
The
They're
Sparrows.
so gross. Yeah, I hate them.
Well,
they just remind me of, like, your regular, everyday, religious zealots that exist, still to this day.
Yeah. That's a perfect analogy. So in episode 1, they deal with Marjorie's situation with the Faith Militant, where she's still
being berated,
being forced to confess.
She won't confess. Will you confess? No.
No. Will you convite? No.
And then after that, we go through. We've already talked about the death of Trystane in the boat and snakes. So we move on to Marine.
You're such a greedy.
Hold on, Justin.
You're such a greedy bitch is a great line. well delivered, well written.
Oh yeah. What a
perfect.
Justin, I did have a question. Do you know of Marjorie's story more in the books than what we've seen?
You know what, Amy? Again, I've been
don't remember. Okay, that's what I'm just asking.
Yeah, we kind of talked about at the end of last season that now I'm at a point of not knowing what's coming, just like you all don't know what's coming.
No, I was just asking, like, if there's more of a storyline for Mar that we haven't seen.
I don't recall.
That's what.
I do know that, you know, like, there are things that I know, but they don't. I'm surprised that they're doing again, episode 2. I'm surprised they're doing the King's Moot storyline.
Right.
Because it's so late.
Right. Well,
it's so late in the show, where in the book that happens way further back. Like, it's like, why even bother going to that place now?
Which place?
The island. The Iron Islands.
The Iron Islands. The whole thing that's going to happen.
Oh, well, that's because they had to merge the stories from after he left Sansa. That had to be the timing of it, though.
No. Because it all happens.
Well, because you think that he's going to compete in the King's Moot?
I don't know. He doesn't. In the book, he doesn't. He doesn't.
I don't think.
Again, we don't.
Amy, I see what you're implying. That
they're going back there. I mean, they show him. We've seen in future trailers and shit, like, you know, from trailers and stuff. We see him all cleaned up.
Pike? No, we don't.
No, we see him all cleaned up and dressed in black and a shorter haircut. He is home.
I haven't seen. There's not the preview.
No, it wasn't. No, what Amy in one of the commercials prior to the launch of season 6, there was a shot of a cleaned up Theon.
All right, I need to go back and see.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with her on that one.
All right.
All I'm confused about is why, and again, because they've deviated so far from the structure of the books, that I don't know where they're going with it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I
think you have to let that go. They may be changing his storyline and making him a bigger character, because now he's got this whole redemption story. You know, like, there's more that they could do with him. Maybe, you know, he's more interesting as a character. Then, you know, for this fight, and then also, you know, I mean, I don't know what happens when you get to, like, the final war, but it doesn't hurt to have, you know, a freaking army, like, of, you know, to have the Iron Army behind, let's say, the Starks or the Targaryens or whoever Theon could, you know, bring
further
the army
down the line.
to help. To bring the army over to the north to help the Starks. I mean, who knows?
I guess it's possible if you're talking about a situation where, because I don't think that.
Because he's his son. I mean,
that they do it like a Jon Snow versus a Daenerys Targaryen type of deal. I think they're
going to work together.
I think that's what I was going to say. I think they're going to work together. I think that.
Yeah.
The whole world has to come together to fight the North. To fight the White Walkers and the Night's King.
Right.
And you know, the big, you know, we can go down the rumor path here for a moment, because it'll lead to episode 2 and what Tyrion did with the dragon pets.
Right, sure.
That the big rumor now, since everyone feels that if the R+L thing is real, and that Jon Snow is going to turn out to be Lyanna and Rhaegar's son, that if you look at the standard for the Targaryens, it's a 3-headed dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And the big rumor now is that the 3 heads of that dragon are Daenerys, Jon, and Tyrion. That Tyrion is not a Lannister, and that Tyrion is actually a Targaryen. That Tywin Lannister's wife was raped by the Mad King and impregnated with Tyrion. If there's that scene in season 4 or 5, 4 I think, where Tywin lambasts Tyrion and says, "You never were my son, but I treated you like you were." So there's this underlying thing that Tyrion is not actually a Lannister and that he is a Targaryen. In the books, and in this season, his hair is a little lighter. In the books, and in season 1, if you go back and look at Tyrion's hair, in the books, he's like blonde. Like blonde.
Well, wait. Aren't the Lannisters blonde too?
like the Targaryen blonde.
Like a platinum blonde.
Right. So there's the specific color that we have to remember. Daenerys's color. I heard that also, Justin. But then I also heard people like debunking it and saying like that's really going down the rabbit hole, like rumor-wise. But
then, it's anything is possible.
And that the whole thing with the dragons, that dragons really are very smart, and they did make a point of him to tell that story. But I mean, maybe anything is possible at this point. That's the thing. Anything.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's possible.
All right, so where does this leave us on episode 1? All
right, so we are moving. Speaking of Targaryens, our fair Targaryen is trapped in the Dothraki Sea.
Yep.
As it seems to be. And she is discovered by, well, she's not discovered. She is captured by the army of Khal Moro. And, I thought that interaction was great. I had a feeling that as badass as Emilia Clarke was in delivering her line, I knew that they were going to laugh at her at the initial. But as soon as, again, the second that the mention of being the widow of a Khal, how it all changed, maybe not necessarily for the better, because now they have to go.
She has to go to Vastothrak.
I have to make a side note here because I specifically wrote it down because of the exchange in the back. The exchange between the Dothraki of the 5 best things in the world.
That was funny.
That was
right.
Great.
Okay, so there is a specific mention of it being very close to the Monty Python skit of what did the Romans do for us? Well, they only gave us education, and the Romans are terrible, and like that little thing. And then in last season, or the Dothraki that is in the jousting episode right before
the tournament, or not
with the mountain, right?
Okay.
The guy that does the Dothraki language, when the guy is like getting ready to go, he's doing the French guy in Holy Grail. Oh gosh, I'll have to.
Like,
you silly English
kniggets. No, we'd already got.
Yes, and he translated it into Dothraki and had the guy saying it. So there's like this ongoing thing with Monty Python and the Dothraki. Yes, it's some weird
that's 2 instances in the span of 6 seasons. So I don't know if that's necessarily like, 9/11 conspiracy. It was an inside.
Oh the guy talked about it. No, the guy that did the Dothraki, that you can look. That's just out there. The guy that did the Dothraki, he's a guy that writes languages, and he wrote it for the show, and he
specifically took those lines.
Yes, he said that he did that specifically on purpose because of the jousting scene and stuff like that. Thought it would be funny, so I just thought it was funny to mention that, so people now are on the lookout for other things that are Monty Python-ish when it comes to the Dothraki. I just thought it was funny.
It is interesting.
All right, so
after Dothraki, we go to Jorah and
Jorah and Dario are looking for her, and they had a good funny exchange between the two of them. He's like, when I look at you, I wonder I feel I know what it'll be like when I get old.
If you get old.
If you get old, and his grace.
Do you guys think they're both on the up and up?
What?
Who?
Do you guys think that they're both have pure intentions?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, one of them's going to die soon.
No, the grayscale doesn't kill you. It turns you into...
Okay. His soul is going to die. He's going to turn into a stone person. The stone people are... The impression that I got is that the stone people are... Once that disease takes hold of you, you're driven mad, and you're turned into this creature that isn't human anymore. That's
but you don't know how long that's going to take. It could, they could drag it out to the end of the series.
No, I know that, but I think that, and the reason why he's kept it secret, other than obviously the immense danger
because he would be
he would be banished. I understand that, but I think that he recognizes he's got a limited time frame left to do any good. That's what I think is going on with Jorah.
Well, but if anyone knew that he had the grayscale, he would be banished.
Yes,
or killed.
I agree. Yes, I agree.
So I don't think he's hiding it because he wants to, continue to. He knows that he'd be done. Not that he doesn't have much time left. Is that if anybody found out that he had it, he'd be done.
I get what you're saying, and I'm sure, yeah, there's definitely an element in there. But the way that he looks at that wound is not like I better keep this hidden so that nobody, kills me or banishes me. Sure, I think he's looking at that and he's going, oh shit, I am fucked. Like,
it really, honestly, I mean, it hasn't spread like super that it's still like in his arm.
No, you know what?
Right.
We don't. The one thing that this show does not give you a clue, and it's kind of like the way Lord of the Rings does it as well, is you don't really understand the passage of time. It's not. It's very unclear how much time has passed since the beginning of season 1.
Right.
You can't say that.
Except for snow. Well, okay. See, that's the thing, because they're different. Even from when we left off last season, time-wise, Jon Snow was left in the snow at Castle Black, and yet when we see Cersei again, her hair is grown out and stuff. Like, there's a passage of time, even though you would think that happened on the same time period, it might not have been, because things are different. Could be on, like Justin, I think, was about to say, like that, because I noticed that between where things left off, there were different time things of what's going on at Castle Black versus, like, I think what's going on elsewhere. I don't know.
I don't know. I think what you have to assume is that everything is happening at the same time.
What's happening now is happening now.
What's happening now is happening now. So that Sansa and Theon's escape is happening at the same time that Jon is getting killed. It's all happening in.
That Euron comes back at the Iron
That's
Island.
all happening at the same time. You don't have a sense of, even from the books, because except in the beginning book where he talks about, I think he mentions how old the Stark kids are, and they skewed that all up. They screwed that all up too, because that's part of the disturbing part of the books is that, like, when Daenerys is married off to Khal Drogo in the book, she's like 14.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the Starks. So when Robb rises to power after Ned gets killed, he's like 15 years old. And becoming king of the North at 15 and running armies and stuff. So it's kind of out of whack. And now we have this huge time gap with the fact that, like somebody was saying that, like, how long has Bronn and Hodor and the Frog Girl been up with the Three-Eyed Raven? Because it's been 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean been 2 years that they've hanging out in the frickin' in the hole in the hill with him learning all about how to warg across the world?
It's only been 1 season. We left end of season 4. We left them there. So we had all of season 5. Now they're back season 6.
And I read today that Rickon is coming back this season.
Right.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that too.
I was talking about this with a friend of mine who was a supposed GOT fan. I'm like, I said, we still have Rickon to deal with, and he's like, Rickon? Who's Rickon? Right. I'm like, the other Stark kid that isn't dead that we know of? He's like, oh yeah, the little brother. Like, yeah. You're like, I had completely forgotten about that character. I was like, well, he's coming back supposedly. And then, speaking of young Stark kids, Arya and Braavos. Right. We could probably tackle both of the episodes in this one because both instances have to do with one another.
Yeah, the same thing.
That girl is a dick. I mean, we've known that, but she is just a dick.
But, in the books, man, the best two storylines in the books are Tyrion and Arya. Literally.
Yeah, I remember you always saying that was your favorite storyline.
They have barely scratched the surface on Arya, and while Tyrion obviously has taken a huge lead, there's the whole they skipped a whole chunk that was just it was too drawn out like to do on the show, but the journey that he goes on to get to Daenerys, like in the books, it hasn't happened. I'll tell you that. In the books, what's going on with him being in Meereen, it hasn't happened yet by the end of book 5. He's not there. So there's this incredible journey that Tyrion goes on, like where he meets another dwarf, and he gets involved in more battles and more mercenaries, and there's yet another child who was hidden away who could possibly be a king. There's all this stuff that's going on that's gone. It's just completely gone. But the whole Arya thing in Braavos of her being the blind girl is just that's really great stuff.
Is that something that you feel like the television show is doing that character storyline justice? Because it sounds like with Tyrion, you don't think that. Would you say that's
no? I think that while the things that they've cut out of Tyrion's story to me were important, I think the way that they've addressed him in the show has been phenomenal.
Well,
just like Alex, just like like with Tolkien and the movies, there's no way to present all of the great stuff in the books.
I didn't mean
same way
necessarily in like connection of
but
detail.
You still like the way that it's coming across. You still like the way
even though they cut out stuff with Tyrion. You like the way that it's been done. Now that we're getting into the blind girl in Braavos section of Arya's story, and I'm sure there's plenty more to go. Do you feel that way as well with Arya's storyline?
Yes, I feel that while there was much more in the book, the way they've handled her has been pretty good.
Okay.
I think that hers is just like starting still.
Totally.
Right.
I agree. Totally, Amy. She's just starting.
I can't wait to see what the faceless men, now that she's,
Right, because
do you think she's finally past the proving herself point? I mean, she's still.
No, I think.
Like I said, Alex, if you just didn't hear me before, I said I think that her journey is just beginning, and I'm sure that there was probably more in the book of her being the blind girl, but I think they probably had to, get to the main thing, and so we still have no idea really in the show about the many-faced gods and what it really means. So I think that's going to be a big chunk of, the storyline also.
Right. Very true. I'm very interested to see where that goes with her. And then we go to wrap up episode 1. We go back to Castle Black, to the Wall, where the Red Woman, the title of episode 1, we come face to face with just how, I don't know, I think we know how powerful her magic was, but that was, I'll be honest, I felt.
For me, I wasn't sure until we got to episode 2. The very end of episode 2, I still wasn't 100% sure of how much of her powers were real and how much of it were things like glamours. Whoa, dude! Ow! That hurt my ear. What? Yeah.
What
you went across like your mic or something, Justin. It
okay.
made like weird noise and
Sorry.
whatever. Yeah, until I didn't know how much of her stuff was real, and like I said, how much of it were along the lines of the glamour that she puts on of what she looks like, because that's all spells and things like that, of course, and magic and talisman and things like that. You know, and that's true. It's funny because that's true in witchcraft. They really kept to, like, you know, going back to just ancient witchcraft of what we know, and that's a lot of what, you know, a glamour isn't. It can be extraordinarily powerful.
Yeah, so, but I don't think any of us. I didn't know that was coming.
No, but and that kind of
how old she was?
Yeah.
I had a feeling. Because I felt like everything with her is riddles and illusions. So for this to be another illusion, it didn't surprise me, and I felt like HBO was kind of going with like a true shock and awe moment with that reveal.
Yeah,
they were just trying to get people to be creeped out and weirded out by it.
Well, it worked for me. I was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming.
See, again, I said to Alex, I don't think it was also just that simple. I honestly think that she is so dejected. She is so unsure with Stannis being dead and everything that she thought from the you know, the power and the gods have given her, that, you know, she had to, you know, bare herself naked, literally and figuratively, and look at her true self in the mirror. And
right. And I don't disagree with that. I totally agree that that's the implication behind this scene. You know, I don't know. It wasn't when it was finally revealed her true self, if you will. I wasn't particularly.
No, I mean, I understand. Shocked. It was like shocking. I thought it was a really great scene, but again, like, I didn't know like what was real and what was not. I think a lot of the stuff now that I was questioning that she did in, you know, last season and stuff actually happened. It wasn't just, you know, glamours and vision spells and things like that. So.
This is true.
So that wraps up episode.
That's 1. So moving on to 2.
And we melded some of 2 and 1 together, also.
So we can get through a lot of that stuff faster. Let's start with the Karstarks and the Boltons. So, I mean, that moment, totally. I knew that in the back of Ramsay's mind, he's been thinking, let me just kill him. Let me just do it and be done with it, and it'll be over with. And I had a feeling that, you know, that was
to kill his father.
But I didn't think it was going to work out like that. What I thought was going to happen is that, you know, obviously she was going to have the child. It turned out to be a boy. That he was going to do some subterfuge, subtle way of taking him out and be power grabby about it, because I felt like, as insane as he still remains, clearly, like last season he tried to show more growth and more, you know, taking on responsibilities and things of that nature. So I thought maybe that would be like a power push for him, where he would try and take the throne that way. Never in a million years did I think that he would straight up gut his own father in front of a Karstark. Like, cause I was shocked that I mean, I get it.
I think he was obviously in on it, because he didn't seem surprised at all.
But even that was shocking to me.
I don't think he was in on it. He wasn't in on it.
You don't think so?
No, he just stood there. He stood there and just was like, I'm not getting involved in this shit.
That's not how you address your lord. And he was like, and that's not how you address your lord. He was already, you know, like sticking up for Ramsay and telling him, you know, you better not talk to him like a nobody.
See, I think that's
not how you address your lord.
I could also see it in that perspective from what Justin's saying, and with what you're saying, Amy. I think that he just simply recognized And also was happy with the fact because Ramsay was more of a guy who could get behind how vindictive this Karstark was, because clearly, like, he's pissed off.
I think he knew. I really think that he knew.
By King Robb, still, all these however many passages of time we're doing, months, years, whatever, since that event happened. So he sees this opportunity to get in with this guy who, hey, clearly is fucking crazy because he just gutted his own father in broad fucking daylight in front of a maester, in front of a Karstark. And I just that, and then obviously the scene that followed. I mean, that it's funny because
I'm just calling it. I think you're wrong. I totally think
expected from him. I had a feeling he was going to go there with that.
No, I didn't see it coming.
I didn't see him killing his father like that.
No, didn't see it. Didn't think it was happening that way.
I still think Karstark knew.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Lord Harold Karstark.
Definitely.
Anywho.
So, yeah, so moving, so then we go back and we deal with the second part of Brienne and Podrick and Sansa and Theon, and Theon decides to go back to...
I'm going home.
Going home. Then we go to King's Landing and, the new and improved Zombie Mountain. Let's talk about that.
Oh, yeah, he's awesome.
That guy telling that story about pulling his dick out in front of Cersei, and then him being drunk later and walking through the alleyway, and the mountain just completely crushing his skull up against the wall. And then him just walking off. I liked how the guy turned and was pissing on the mountain's leg.
The whole way that was shot, the whole way that was cut, the incredibly gory CGI was perfect, just splat. That was just a fantastic Game of Thrones moment. That was
great.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
and he's
I'm a fan of the Zombie Mountain.
Undead Mountain. Jesus Christ.
And he's in the books, right, Justin?
Yes.
What's his new name? Lord Nightmare Face Undertaker Bloodshot Man.
I can't remember what she's calling him.
Something fucking crazy.
Yeah, nothing stuck out to me that I recall enough.
All right, so then we move on, and we get the whole situation of Cersei not being allowed to go to her own daughter's funeral.
Right.
Even I thought that was pretty fucked up. Tommen.
But Tommen clearly...
And speaking of Tommen, like, what a little pussy. I mean...
Yeah.
God damn it.
Cersei
that's why, like, we were talking about Cersei and feeling bad. I have a bad feeling about her plans for Tommen at this point, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what to expect.
Especially.
She's not going to kill her own kid. It's not...
I don't think that she's going to kill him. I'm not sure... I don't know. I didn't like it.
I think she's very clearly, the breakdown with Jaime shows that she is in a moment of desperation, and I think it's going to go one of two ways. One, I think she's going to be incredibly protective with him from now on, because now she's lost 2 kids, and she doesn't want to lose the third, and she's going to try and do everything in her power to fight to make sure that the prophecy doesn't come true. Or she's going to just acquiesce to defeat and accept that Tommen's gonna die. The prophecy's gonna come true, and that's
that's what she said to Jaime. You know, she was like, you know.
Well, so then maybe she take him out. Maybe she'll like take him out and herself with him.
No, I don't think she'll go.
Did anyone notice like the symbolism of like her pulling the strings out from her dress?
No,
the only thing I thought was it was like, you know, that things are coming apart for her.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like that's what I'm talking about. Like they made, like she's completely coming undone. I think that they worked that as she's just literally staring down at, you know, they made a point of making that a moment in the scene of her staring down at her wrist and pulling the string out and, you know, ripping it off and dropping it down. So I thought that was a little interesting. a little tiny tidbit, a little symbolism.
And then we jumped around, but we can go back to the confrontation between Jaime and the High Sparrow.
Oh yeah, that was good.
So Jonathan Pryce.
That was a great scene.
Jonathan Pryce is a great actor. Oh, we can overthrow an empire. And I'm with you, Amy. I think the Faith Militant are bad news. I think that they are like a very, very interesting storyline to watch in this story, but they are clearly going to fuck some shit up. Or try to.
I don't like them one little bit. And they don't have the power to take them out, the numbers right now or anything,
clearly,
do they?
Not in King's Landing. I think it's the Faith Militant right now. They run King's Landing more than the Lannisters do.
Yep.
Then we go back to Marine, and we get the I drink and I know things, and the confrontation of not confrontation, the meeting, let's call it, of Tyrion and the dragons, and I loved the ending of that where he looks at Varys and says, "Next time I suggest something like that, punch me in the face."
Yeah, punch me in the face.
Like that. I
thought
couldn't
that,
believe
and
that
again,
it was
like
even
acting.
God, go ahead, Amy. Sorry.
I think also, like, acting-wise, that was great with Peter Dinklage. That scene, you know, was really moving when he was talking to the dragons, about how he felt about dragons and crying and, you know, what they meant to him and stuff.
Just a little one like me.
Yeah.
And now here you are, here I am, and that was great. But that kind of leads into this whole theory that, like, why would these dragons let? That's why he asked Melissa. What the hell is her name?
Who are you referring to?
Varys' hand. What's her name?
The curly-haired girl, yeah.
Miss Andre. When he asked her, did they ever attack you? Did they, because about being friends, you know, that they're protective of their connected friends and things like that. Right. He's never been near them before ever. So why would they allow him to remove their chains?
Yeah, but
you're going for that Targaryen connection there again.
That they see it inside him. That he is of the dragon's blood. He is the fire.
Interesting. I never thought of it. See, I just thought, okay, Tyrion was right yet again, because Tyrion tends to be right in these situations.
Right, that the dragons are just smart.
Now that you put it that way,
they're smart, but the dragon literally, you know, paused. And especially the second one. After the first one let him take the collar off, the second one kind of like, you know, did this to like say, all right, take my chain off too, monkey man. You know, like
dropped his neck to him.
Right. And who, you know, so there's this one thing that I read was, could you imagine the sight of Tyrion riding on a dragon back to King's Landing to burn down everyone that ever wronged him in his life?
I mean, that would be pretty bad.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be pretty cool. That would be very.
It'd be like a fun little side superhero project, like Tyrion the Dragon Master.
The Dragon Rider Tyrion.
Yeah, there we go. Another failed movie.
I'm thinking of the Dragon Riders of Pern right now for some reason. Those books that Mom loved to read, still probably
those dragon books. Yeah.
Okay, so we go from there. We go back to Braavos, but we covered most of that. Then we go to Beyond the Wall. Finally, we get back to our boy Bran, and we're not there to start with. Well, we're kind of there to start with, but then we are quickly transported back in time to. It's Winterfell is the location, and we find out Hodor's real name. And it
what you talking about, Willis?
What you talking
about, Willis? And Willis can talk in full sentences and not just say Hodor. So
I read an amazing idea about Hodor today.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so you want to prepare for this one.
Okay.
Okay.
So we see Hodor, and we see him take Lyanna's horse. So he's a horse. He's the stable boy, is what his job is. He's a stable boy.
Right.
So the theory I read today was that Willis was a warg, and that Willis used to warg into Lyanna's horse, and that secretly he loved Lyanna, but because he was the stable boy, he could never go beyond being the stable boy. And that he warged into, if you remember, at one point the Three-Eyed Raven tells Bran during that flashback sequence, don't go too far or you can get lost here.
Right.
And that if you remember back when Melisandre killed the eagle that the Northmen warged into,
right.
He went mad when his eagle died, when he was warged inside the eagle. So this theory says that Willis warged into Lyanna's horse, and that horse either dies at some point and makes Hodor go into that Hodor is horse for I love you. And that he's gone mad, and that the only thing Willis can say now is Hodor, because he was warged into Lyanna's horse when the horse died.
Well,
all right.
That's interesting. I heard. And then here's what I heard.
To be true, because that would give us another.
That would probably give us another perspective. I love you, horse.
In horse.
Hodor is horse for I love you. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. No way. No way. And then today, so I heard that they could be time jumping, and that Willis, is going to, and to me this sounds, especially, maybe I would have given it a little bit more credence, but as soon as you put through the Hodor is, I love you in a horse.
Well, I didn't write it. I just read it.
That is really hysterical. That's so ridiculous. What is he? He couldn't figure it out with his. No. Anyway, no. I read that it is going to be some kind of like that he might be involved in that fight up at the top of the mountain.
The Tower
of Joy?
The Tower of Joy
yes. Fight? And that he, sacrifices himself in some noble way, that he gets knocked upside the head and is never quite right again, takes a beating and stuff like that, and that's why he can't talk.
Whoa. Why would a stable boy be with Rhaegar and Lyanna at the Tower of Joy where they eloped?
Well, no, maybe he was protecting Lyanna. Maybe there is part of it that could be true in that point, but maybe he was just following her. Anything is plausible. You're telling me him being there and getting the shit beat out of him, or himself sacrificing himself in some way, isn't as plausible as him being warged as a horse and saying Hodor is I love you.
Well, I think
that's all he could say.
Putting the Hodor as horse for I love you aside, I think that they're both plausible.
No. Yes. And where is he?
Yes.
Where is a stable boy getting warg blood? Where is a stable boy getting Stark blood? Who the only people that we know that
are time. Being a warg has nothing to do with being a Stark.
Mm-hmm.
That man from the north who is a warg is not a Stark. This is a society, a world.
Yeah, but they came from they came from royalty though. Each one, even the red, isn't the Red Raven like a bastard of a king?
Who's the Red Raven?
Okay, forget it.
No.
Who's the Red Raven?
I don't know who the Red Raven is. But
who's the Red Raven, Amy?
She's referring to the guy.
I have the name wrong. Then I'm thinking of something different.
Are you the Three-Eyed Raven?
No. Never mind. Go ahead. I'm wrong.
Okay.
You brought it up.
So, yes, Hodor's name is Willis. This we know. Whether or not it means I love you in Horse, we'll yet to find out. And then before we move on, he says Max von Sydow, again, is great. He says that if he doesn't, he says to Bran that he's warning him that he'll drown in old memories. That's not what you were talking about earlier, right?
That's what I meant. That he can get lost in there and you can go mad.
Right. And then outside we have Mira kind of just taking it all in.
Yeah, I don't understand her role at all. Like, is she in the book a lot, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, it was all part of the journey to get him there.
Okay. Well, I don't understand why she's still sticking. Like, I don't understand why she's still sticking around.
The implication.
Where is she going to go at this point? She hold on. She can't go anywhere right now. Yeah. She's not going to travel back through the north, down south to get past the wall by herself.
Right.
She'd never make it. She'd never survive.
Right. But I think that what the child of the forest said to her was interesting, because she didn't, she's like, why, while he's in there training and doing whatever and I'm just sitting out here, and she said, he needs you.
He needs you, yeah.
So there's going to be some kind of, I don't know if it's going to be a romantic connection necessarily, but there's some kind of connection between her and Bran moving forward here. I think that's the implication.
I agree with that. I just don't know what or when.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't know if she has any kind of powers or anything, right?
True. So then we move to the Iron Islands, where we've already talked about some of this, but we get the big reveal of Euron Greyjoy returning and claiming to be the god of the sea, I guess. I like a mythical character.
Yeah.
Was he this grandiose and godlike in the books?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the Dread Pirate Roberts. He's like he is this ultimate, like, whatever.
I am the storm.
He is the storm. He is, he is feared across the seas as this, this imposing captain of the Iron Island Navy. He is everything that the other Greyjoy isn't.
Right.
He's, the other I'm drawing a blank on his name, but that, Balon is this old, sickly, stays on Pike, doesn't leave, and they're seafaring people. And Euron is the one who left the islands and to conquer his fortune and take, the boats across the world, and, that he's known across, not just Westeros, but Essos as well. And and he's back to, he wants to take over, obviously.
Clearly.
But, killing his brother.
And Yara
is pissed.
She wants revenge, but she's quickly reminded that
you're a woman.
Well, not only, you're a woman and you might be the first woman ruler of, the Iron Islands, but you gotta win the King's Moot.
Gotta win the King's Moot. Yeah, but don't get excited about what the King's Moot is.
Oh, I thought it was this big battle between king candidates.
No, it's like
I was picturing it like the papal, like picking a pope.
Yeah, it's a combination of like what Amy said about picking the pope and choosing delegates. It's not like some big battle.
Wonderful.
You know what? That's what it was in the books. And at this point, they could totally change it up and make it something like what you're saying, Alex, that it could be complete, it could be a battle.
To battle.
This tiny little girl against Euron the Great,
Yes. And then finally, we return back to the wall.
Yes.
Back to Castle Black, where we have the moments the two moments that we had been waiting for, the first of which was the confrontation between Alliser and his ranks versus
the Wildlings. The Wildlings.
The Wildlings coming in and whoever that guy was making the connection with the guy who does the Wyndham Hotel commercials now. Big, looks like Harley Morenstein from Epic Mealtime, the leader of the Wildlings.
Oh, the red-faced guy.
Yeah, Redbeard.
No, he's giant, Hormon Giantsbane, Giant Killer, something like that.
And do we get to see that? And that kid, I was like,
Ollie. Fuck Ollie.
Watching. No, fuck him for sure because he betrayed John. But I just thought it was interesting watching this whole them cutting back to him and getting his reaction
perspective.
To things unfolding.
Yeah, because he's so upset because his parents were killed by them and stuff.
Were killed by the wildlings and everything, and then for
even though it wasn't these guys, it was those bald, creepy cannibals.
Right, exactly.
That was a great scene with them.
Side note: are there any non-creepy cannibals? I don't think so.
Yeah, true. I mean,
probably not. And I just thought that with the wildlings coming in was a great scene, and the giant was a great scene. Smashing. Smashing.
When that guy shot,
just like dropping their weapons.
Like, are you kidding me?
It was
also like another Princess Bride reference. Drop your sword, and then everybody just drops their sword.
It was very Hulk smashing Loki.
Yeah. Oh yes. It was great. And then moment.
Sir Davos asking the lady in red,
pleading. Just please, can you try? And I was like, all right, HBO, how long are you going to milk this jump scare out for? Let's see. How long are you going to milk this jump scare out
Justin, what were you singing?
The very end is what you're going to do, jump
I was singing The Lady in Red.
Oh, The Lady in Red
is dancing with me.
Cheek, cheek.
Lady in Red.
We're getting loopy. It's like we're pushing like 2 hours here, guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the it was like our cousin posted on Facebook and said called it, said every Game of Thrones fan ever.
Right. And then he
I didn't think it was. I mean, I'm surprised that they brought him back as quickly as they did, that he's back in episode 2. I definitely thought that there was going to be some shit to go through. I thought we were going to have, I thought her bringing him back was going to have to be much more involved than, lay your hands on me, it was just
Yeah, yes, Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, it's like a Bon Jovi, Mr. Miyagi.
Conan the Barbarian. But okay, so if we want to talk spoilers, I read something that Kit said about the journey for the rest of the season, and that he said that the whole season hinges on Jon at this point, and that one of the things after if you saw the end and obviously you get this moment of Jon is walking through the Castle Black and everyone's like, what the fuck?
Right.
And then obviously Davos is talking to him and going, they see you as some kind of god at this point because he's come back from the dead.
Right.
And that Kit says that Melisandre asks him, what did you see? What did you see? And he tells her he saw nothing. That when that there was nothing beyond life, and so Jon was never really afraid of anything before. Now he has the bleakness and oblivion to be afraid of, and that what Kit said was that part of the reason that he that he
Where
really
did you see this, by the way, just so I can write it down?
I think it was on my Geek Tyrant site. It's called geektyrant.com.
Was it an article?
Yeah, it was Kit talking to somebody, and that he was saying that had they just brought him back and he was Jon, hey, I'm back. That wouldn't be interesting to do. So that there's got to be some reason, something that pushes him and that frightened him so, because he stood toe to toe with the Night's King, and he definitely was pushed back by that. But that the fact that he dies and he comes back, and Melisandre asks him, "What did you see?" and he said, "I saw nothing." That there's nothing.
I'm surprised that would drive someone to me. I would just be like, well, there's nothing after this anyway. Like, that's funny how it's like a motivation. To me, it would be like more dampering.
That's not what these people were brought up to believe, especially in the instance of Jon. I mean, I know that, like, he's a bastard and he's been, he's taken the oaths of the brothers, and,
Well, that's the other thing now. Is that now that he's dead and brought back, he's not bound to the wall.
Yeah,
I think that what we know of Castle Black and the wall and all that is a moot point. I think that's basically done and over. I think it's just going to be the Crows and the Wildlings banding together and being like one big army, starting like the preparation at this point for the shit to go down. That everyone knows that the shit's going to be going down.
Well,
I think the big battle is going to first be between Jon and the Wildings and the Boltons and the Karstarks.
For sure.
I think that Sansa is going to make. I think Sansa is going to make it back.
Yeah, there's not going to.
I think Sansa's going to make it back to Castle Black, and she's going to let him know what the hell's going on beyond where he's been, and that's going to cause like, all right, well, we need to take back, Winterfell from Ramsay, and that's the first thing because he's got to get the rest of the North back, and without Winterfell, they can't do that. With the Boltons running Winterfell, they can't take back the North,
right?
And get the families from the North back. I also heard that we're finally going to get back to Riverrun, and the Tullys are supposed to come back in this year too.
Oh wow!
Because
lots of moving parts.
And the other big rumor that keeps is Lady Stoneheart, and I really wish that they
we saw a picture of her in one of the, I think at the start of when they did the whole recap of everything, they went in so far back as to show her.
They did show her. So, they also showed Ned.
Right, and that's what I read. I've heard that they are.
We're getting a young Ned, but we're getting Ned.
But Justin, for your question about Lady Stoneheart, I read that they are going to be delving into that this season,
which would be amazing.
She's
so badass in the book.
Yeah, like that through all of these, and then that'll be like all of this stuff that we're going to be seeing is all going to be done through Bran, because in the books you get everybody their own like POV flashback type of situation, and they didn't want to do that. They wanted to make it interesting and not have it through one of the characters' eyes, but through somebody that wasn't, even like there and around at the time of all this stuff is going on. And also, such a happy place for Bran to be and get to see his father as, even younger than he is now at this point. So all of this POV and flashback stuff and, the R plus L equals J theory and the tower and Lady Stonejoy, like all that supposedly is going to be done through Bran's visions.
Okay, I could get that. I mean, I definitely figured that they were doing the Tower of Joy through Bran's visions. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see how they do that for Lady Stoneheart, but I'd be game.
Yeah, I think it would be an interesting way to
figure it out some way. Yeah,
one way or another. And so
that
wraps it up.
Wow, we did it, guys.
2 episodes of Game of Thrones covered.
I didn't anticipate 2 episodes taking that long. I was like, it'll be a quick one.
Yeah, not.
not. No. We just and it's us. It's the three of us. When we get into something and we just go on, we can go on.
Yeah.
That's the way we do it.
There's a lot to catch up on, though, too. Also,
yeah, totally. So, do we want to say for next time we try to do a brief synopsis of GOT and then do our regular stuff, or
sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just make it just not as in depth.
We might have to cut other stuff down a little bit now that GOT is back. Also,
yeah. Sure, but I don't think
because we always.
I don't think the focus of the podcast should be all GOT all the time.
No. Because there's so much more stuff that we haven't. I mean, like we didn't talk. It's been so long. Why don't we
wrap this up and stop recording? And then
all right, let's all say adios.
Adios.
Until next time, same Sibs channel, same Sibs time, whatever that might be.
Same Sib place.
Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.